Ethan joining us via Zoom.
Hello.
Hello. Turn this up. All right. Okay, so today we are going to start talking about kind of the whole project management, project cycle of working with web projects. Okay. So let's get started here. So a term that you might encounter is system engineering. Okay, so system engineering, the process of analyzing, designing, and organizing various elements of a system. Okay. So that illustration there, that was something that one of our retired faculty members had on the slide. So I just have never taken it off. It's a system basically. It's an invention. Kind of a counterbalance. I don't know. What do you guys think? Can you decipher what that is?
Are those windows up there and the lock closes that?
Could be.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I've never asked him what it actually is.
Someone translate what that says in the info.
It's Galileo.
This course, demonstration mathematics.
Demonstration of mathematics.
Something with
Science.
new science. 1638.
Trying to do like a lever or
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like some kind of a lever.
Are you googling it real quick?
like what if the wall is supposed to be falling that way and that weight is keeping it straight
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
design and how like sturdy it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So there's some kind of a system going on here in the engineering of that.
I just Googled it and it came up with a book called Two New Sciences.
It's from a book. You know.
They're getting there.
We're kidding. All right, you guys can keep working on that. All right, so when we're talking about systems engineering, there's two basic areas here, two types, product engineering and information engineering. The area that we're going to focus on primarily is going to be information engineering because when we're working with websites and applications like that, we're primarily dealing with information between different systems and types of communication. All right, so definition here, system engineering. It's done to produce a information system that supports a business by managing and accessing and sharing information. All right, so you think about any kind of business, big business, small business, it's all about having access to that information to make proper decisions, right? And so the ultimate purpose of an information system is to support the goals of the enterprise within the boundaries of its operation, okay? All right, so let's break down. So this, I like this illustration here. This is kind of how an information system is set up, okay? All right, so let's start at the top level here. And let's pick a business. Somebody give me just a business. Amazon? Okay. We'll go with Amazon. Because it's big, right? It's a big enterprise, okay? So we're kind of breaking it down here into some different phases. We have strategic planning, we have business area analysis, systems development, and then way down at the bottom here, we'll get into database development, okay? All right, so we have Amazon. That's our main enterprise. Okay, so then we break it down into our different business areas. So what would be some business areas of Amazon? Warehouses, streaming, Amazon Prime. Okay. There's probably, the Amazon Web Services, another break off. Okay, so they have all these different business areas, right? So let's take, for example, the warehouse. Okay, so the e-commerce part of Amazon. So now we're going to take that specific business area and we're going to start to try to break down the different information systems of it. Okay, there is the back end side where we have, well, before we get there, if you think about Amazon, there's probably different areas of Amazon. Let's bring it up just to have a reference here. Amazon. What? Okay. I have not come across that.
Unless we having problems.
All right. So let's see if we can try to figure out maybe some different, so let's jump back to here. Okay, so we're down here to the information systems area and the different system components. Okay. So what would be some different system components of the e-commerce experience here? Sourcing? Okay, what do you mean by sourcing?
Because they also sell things for the people.
Right, okay. So they have like third-party vendors that sell their products through them, okay. So we probably have, what else? What other kinds of systems?
I was thinking where they're getting the images from, like, maybe it's ties in the images with.
Yeah. So let's think about people and like maybe their jobs and roles. So we probably have warehouse. We have warehouse managers, I'm guessing, that are keeping track of what we have. What'd you say? Human resources that are taking care of all the employee stuff. Okay. You have, oh gosh, it probably even, it'd be interesting to do a study on this and research kind of how their whole operation works. But I'm guessing even within the warehouse areas, there's different departments that are tracking, that are taking care of all the shipping details, and that's part of their job. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there's all these different systems, right? So let's jump back here. Okay, so then if we break down certain systems, so let's just say the one of the warehouses, maybe it's a warehouse that's specific to books, okay, physical books. They probably have hardware, they have software or that they're using to keep track of the inventory, manage all that, and then they probably have a pretty extensive database that is keeping track of what's being bought, sold, returned, all of that. Okay, so we start up here at the very top level. What's the guy's name that owns it? Bezos. Yep. So, we start up there with him and his big enterprise, and we break all the way down to some database programmer working for a warehouse in, I don't know, wherever. They used to have, I don't know if they still have, they had like one in Coffeyville, Kansas, and I don't know where all their warehouses are now, but in Kansas. But anyway, there's all these different levels. So some of these stages they're on the right. We have strategic planning. So that's the process of identifying the organization's long-term mission, goals, and objectives. Okay, this is where a lot of the corporate people get together with the different managers of an organization, and they first come up with a mission of the organization. And then they take that mission, they start breaking it down into individual goals. And then from those individual goals, there's usually quite a few objectives that they set forth to try to reach those goals. Okay. Then we have the business area analysis. That's just the process of identifying the organization's vital areas and their different processes. Okay, so like HR and different components like that. Then we have systems development. Okay, this is planning and designing and building the overall information system of a organization. Okay, so like, for example, K-State has a pretty big system development process because they have all these different areas. They have like people that are working with Canvas to make sure that's working. We have the HR, human capital services, making sure that the payroll, student payroll, faculty, staff payroll, benefits, all that stuff is being taken care of. We have other business taking care of the money side of things for different transactions within the university. And all that would be wrapped inside this systems development type of a stage. And then from there, we break it down into our different database developments, okay? So we have for like K-State, there's the Canvas side of the database, where some of this might be third-party integration. Some of it might be in-house, but all these different databases that are supporting that information system overall. All right, so some of the information system components. We have our hardware, okay, so our physical components, our servers, our client desktops, software, okay, the different programs that we're using. So in the case of K-State, like Canvas, any kind of program that we're using to keep the system running, the data that's being used within the system, okay? And then the processes, these are just the tasks that people, the employees have to perform to get the results from that system, okay? And then the people, right? So there's always a human element most of the time involved until we get to where everything's being run by robots, but we're not quite there yet, thankfully. Someday. Okay, so real quick, we'll go over product engineering. So this is systems engineering that's focused on the process. When the focus of the process is a product, okay, that we're building and putting together. So this is kind of another diagram of the scope of a product engineering. Again, we have so let's think about, so a complete product. Let's maybe say an iPad, Apple iPad, okay? That iPad, we have to break it down. We have our hardware components, okay? So the processor, screen, all that good stuff. And then we have our software components, okay? So the operating system, the overall operating system. And then with that operating system, we break that down into different systems, okay? The data, the processes, the behaviors within the operating system. There's probably, like a mail application, your photo, camera, all that software. We break down into these then separate program components, okay? So that's where that kind of all breaks down. So kind of the stages. Again, we have the systems analysis up there at the top, kind of the overall top-down look, and then our system design, where we get into the weeds. We start getting into the details of the system. All right. So the main thing here to remember about an information system, what it must do ultimately is support the mission, the goals, and those objectives that we talked about within a business enterprise, okay? If the business doesn't have a clear mission, that if they don't have clear goals and objectives, you can put all the time in the world into these systems, programming the greatest database and everything. But if the company doesn't have its, stuff together, as far as what their goals and objectives are, it's going to fail. It's not going to work. Okay. All right. So let's move on to close this one. And let's look at the strategic planning. Okay. Okay. So remember, there was these different, remember the different stages we have, right? Strategic planning is kind of that top phase where the organization is identifying their mission, their goals and objectives. Then once you have that, then you can get down into these other areas as far as the business analysis, systems development, database development, all that good stuff. So a lot of times, so in my experience and other people that have been in industry that have worked as web designers and web developers, worked with some of the marketing and strategic planning for businesses. Whenever there's, a company is going to kind of rethink, maybe they need to boost sales. They need to, somehow make more money. Okay. So, so let's take example. So the most recent one I probably worked with would be like the Salina Symphony here in town. Okay. It's a nonprofit organization. They're business though. So when I started working with them, sat down with the client, the executive director and the board, the symphony board members. And we kind of worked through the strategic planning part. Okay. So you might not, you think, well, this, I'm going to be a web designer, web developer. What does this all have to do with it? Because it's important to get those figured out in order to understand what kind of a database system, what kind of a system, a business system is going to work for that organization or that business. So we worked on what is their long-term mission. Okay, is to provide, an outreach of the arts to the community, okay, through the symphony orchestra, to be embedded in the community, to provide that those arts to the Salina area and the region. Okay, their goals, they wanted to have, I forget what it was, like 5 or 6 big concerts per year. Okay. And then what were the objectives to get to those goals? Okay, so here's where I get into, well, we need to redesign the website. We need to increase the social media presence, develop all these new marketing materials that are going to go out to the community to obtain that goal of, having 6 successful concerts per year. Okay. Okay, so you're kind of breaking that down. All right, so we've got the mission, statement of the overall purpose. That can include customers, products, services, values. Okay. Then we have our goals, which are the kind of the long-term statements of direction. Okay. Again, so like in case of the symphony, they wanted to have, one of the goals was to have 6 concerts per year, for the foreseeable future. And then the objectives, what are those short-term actions, quantitative. Okay, that's an important word there. So you have those objectives to be measurable, right? So like, for example, the website, we're going to track how many visits they were getting, how many people were visiting the site, and to like set a goal, and look at that every quarter or every year to see, we want to continue to expand that audience. Okay, so by like tracking the website, ticket sales. Okay, so that's another quantitative measurement, to see how many tickets are sold for each concert. Okay, so the objectives need to be measurable in some manner. All right, so a lot of times there'll be maybe multiple goals, and that's usually the case. to accomplish that mission. All right, and there's usually going to be more than one objective to successfully meet that goal. Okay, there might be 2 to 3, maybe 4 different objectives depending on what the goal is to accomplish that. All right, so kind of breaking that down, breaking this chart down. So as we move to the right, the items get more specific. Okay, you think of the mission, it's kind of just the overall grand statement. And then as we move to the right, we want stuff to be measurable. The items immediately to the items right must help to achieve that. Okay, so those objectives, those need to directly tie into those goals to help achieve those goals. And then the goals need to directly tie into the mission, right? So here's a couple of examples. All right, so our mission: provide the highest possible quality of wireless communication devices at an affordable price. All right, so a couple key points there. Highest quality, okay, so we have that set right there as part of the mission. They're wireless devices, and we want them to be affordable, okay? So high quality phones at affordable price, okay? All right, so what are the goals? Goal 1, we need to reduce the manufacturing cost of the phones, okay, in order to sell them at an affordable price, right? Okay, so we want to reduce the manufacturing costs. How do we do that? First objective, we can try to gain maybe a 10% price reduction from the suppliers. Okay, another one, we maybe redesign the, you can see where the age of this is. I'm pulling slides that are a few, a little older, because we don't have keypads now on phones, but like a BlackBerry back in the day. You guys know what a BlackBerry is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You're not that young. My son, the other night, we were watching something, and they had a disc man. You guys, he had no clue what that was. He's like, what? He's like, there's no screen to watch the movie or whatever. He thought it's like, no, it's like a CD that plays music. What? Anyway, all right, I'm getting off track. So redesign the keypad assembly to reduce the assembly cost by 20%. All right, so those objectives there are going to help reduce the manufacturing cost. All right, so the second goal, we want to maintain high quality standards in the manufacturing process. So one objective we could do there, decrease the number of defects by 20%. All right, let's look at another one. So we have a company here that wants to improve their web exposure to potential customers. All right, so they want to get their website out there for more people to see. So how are we going to do that? Well, we can buy Google ads, right? We can start doing some advertising that links to our landing page. All right, to achieve that goal, what do we need to do? So we need to increase the number of landing page hits by, by 10, right? By a factor of 10. That'll get us more people to the landing page, and then hopefully get them to buy whatever we're selling or whatever it might be. Okay, we also want to improve those landing pages, maybe improve the overall design and function of them. So let's look at the objectives. We want to increase the number of inquiries by 40%. All right, so if we do that, we know that those landing pages are improving. Maybe they have better graphics, better layout, whatever it might be. They're more responsive for mobile phones. And then we want to respond to every inquiry that we might get within 24 hours. Okay, so we need to have some sort of a system set up to respond to potential customers. All right, so you can kind of see how the objectives have measurable quantitative measurements that are kind of tied to them to hit those goals. The objectives need to be measurable. All right, so things to remember here, the overarching context of your information system is that strategic plan, okay, the things we just went over. And then that plan includes the mission, goals, and objectives. All right, okay, so let's do a little activity here. You guys will need a pencil or a pen. And Ethan, I'll explain to you here in just a second, Ethan. Okay, Ethan, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. All right. So what we're going to do is, so what I just handed them, let me pull up my screen here. Hopefully you can maybe see what I'm doing here. So it's basically that same chart that's in the PowerPoint, just blank. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you can kind of maybe work along at home there. So what I want you to do is think of a personal mission in your life. So something big that you want to set for yourself, some kind of a, it's not a goal, okay? It's a mission. It's like something really big. So maybe, oh gosh, and we don't have to be too serious here, but I just want you to kind of think about this. Maybe your mission is to graduate college, okay? All right, so so you guys don't have to use that one. I want you to kind of think outside the box here. But so we want to graduate college. We're going to have some goals that we have to achieve to do that. And then to get to those goals, we're going to have to set some objectives, right? Okay. So think about something in your life. It's like a mission. And then I want you to come up with 2 goals to that you can apply towards that mission. And then think of a couple objectives for each of those goals. Okay. So I'll give you, we'll do about 15 minutes here, 10, 15 minutes. And then we'll come back and see what you guys come up with.
Let's just be serious, right?
It doesn't have to be super serious, but nothing that is like too weird. I mean, I want you to think about actual something that you can measure and, you know.
So I can't have my mission be defeat God.
No, that I don't see how that could happen.
Does it have to be serious? Everything was like,
Well, it's because I like to have fun with my work. That's how I get the most creative.
Yeah. So we got to have some objectives that are measurable. Okay, that's the main thing to think about here. Does that make sense, Ethan?
Yeah. So no conquering the world.
Well, maybe
That might be a bit more realistic than mine.
conquering, I don't know, conquering the Polytechnic campus or,
I'll found my own micronation. I got it.
okay, all right.
Said somewhere.
Conquer Texas, okay. All right. All right, so about 10, 15 minutes here. grab a drink of water while you guys are on that.
It reminds me of the Fox News thing. That was attack and dethrone God. Did you see that? Is that what you got that from?
I was just thinking of stuff. I was like, what's something stupid that I could totally put on here?
This kind of stuff gets me stuck. And I'm just like, I don't even know what to put.
Yeah, this is why I can't do serious stuff, because I can't ever think of anything.
Yeah.
That's why if I have fun with it, I can
Let me
get my juices flowing.
become famous.
I'm gonna make that quantitative.
I mean, you could always found a cult.
Forgot you were there.
Okay, that is very true.
We forgot. Voice of God, he speaks. Satan says.
No, it's just Bob. It's just a guy named Bob. That's who I believe in. My God is Bobby Schmurda.
What the hell?
I'll be older.
Excuse me,
Wait,
what are you looking at?
The frog and he's petting him.
Oh,
No.
you know what? I'm just gonna graduate college.
There we go.
That's it.
You said it's quantitative or qualitative?
Quantitative.
Well, quantitative.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Has to involve numbers somehow.
Calculation of
Do a few more minutes here.
It's 100.
Oh,
So it becomes 50 plus 50 minus 0 plus 2 plus 2. 104.
no.
You're not.
No,
There's a map.
In your head.
It's some of those.
Mom plays,
Yeah.
my dad plays, flashing those ads. I can't get past level 67.
If you get past level 4, you're certified genius.
All right, so it looks like you guys maybe got some stuff. So, all right, who wants to go first? Who wants to give me their mission in life? Garrett, you want to go? Okay. All right.
So I said that my mission was just like bettering my lifestyle, stop happening, you know. So like narrow it down that I've like noticed that like helps me good at succeed in school, as well as like improve more in my hobbies. And going more in depth into like measurable things or objectives. I could spend time doing things that I enjoy but actively.
Okay.
Practice and track progress of improvement in my hobby. And for the school mission or goal, I said spend 4 to 6 hours outside of class on schoolwork, which is measurable, and staying more organized to not lose track. So
Okay, so those are really good. How would we measure the last one you said there?
staying organized.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you guys think? How can we measure that?
I would probably say like something I haven't done is like maybe like a calendar or like an act system. I guess.
Okay.
So being able to like incorporate something new.
Okay. They could maybe use that calendar then and say, I'm going to spend this day and this day doing a certain thing. Okay, so those are good. Yeah, so you got the idea. You know, you're breaking things down into small, measurable chunks. Okay. All right. Who else? You want to go?
It started out kind of broad, and then I realized it wasn't really quantitative, so I said make it quantitative. So it's improve cooking skills is the mission.
All right.
The goals are to improve the taste of the food and to improve cooking efficiency.
All right.
So for the improving taste of food, the objective is to increase fresh ingredients by 50%. Very
Okay.
specific. And on improving cooking efficiency, I put to decrease preparation time by 25%, which is actually kind of a goal for me,
All right.
or an objective for that goal. And then also to prepare certain ingredients or components of the meal 12 to 24 hours in advance.
Okay. All right. So those are good. You're putting some measurable components in there to figure out how to accomplish those goals. Okay.
You're a real chef if you can't make minute rice in 59 seconds.
Okay. All right. Who else wants to go? James?
My mission was to get my own car.
Okay.
So goals were get a job, spend less, and save more. Those are the two. I guess I kind of combine those. So the objectives for getting a job was to update my resume and ask around for jobs and send out the resume. And then for spending less, I would keep track of how much I spend and invest more money.
Okay. All right. So those are good. We would the only thing we need to do then is try to add some more specific points. So the first one, maybe you talked about getting your resume out there. Maybe you'd say, I want to get it out to 5 new companies per week until I get a job. Okay. What were some of the other objectives you had there?
Keep track of how much I spend.
Keep track. Okay.
Or probably be more specific and be like, spend $20 less. or something like that.
Yeah, you could add like a dollar amount or a percentage wise, say, I want to spend 25% less on fast food or something like that. Okay. All right. Okay. What we got, Braden?
My mission, I actually kind of went serious this time, which I'm disappointed in, but I have achieved 90% or higher in all of my classes. My two goals I had work on improving my current grades, and my other one is maintain any good grades.
Okay.
Objectives for my first one involve study for an extra hour per day, start work a day early so I can have time to ask any questions if I have any. Next one for my maintain any good grades, I have to discuss homework with at least 2 classmates or more, and ask at least 1 question per homework assignment.
Okay. All right. So those are good. And the one thing, you started out with a really specific mission. Sometimes you might not want to set the percentage right away. Okay, so maybe it could just be achieve, I don't want to say good grades, but maybe achieve A's or achieve a B or better in school. Okay, so a lot of times with the mission, you want to keep that more open and broad. Okay. All right, Michael, what do you got?
I cannot think of anything unique, so I just used your example of graduate college.
Okay.
As my mission.
It's all right.
My goals, pass all classes, and pay off tuition. The objectives for the classes, put hours into studying and attend all classes, and complete the homework on time with high grades. And then for the tuition goal, the objectives were to acquire scholarships, just constantly be on the lookout for them. And don't take loans if you can help it, and just hopefully the scholarships will help you be able to pay it off just immediately.
Right. So we could even go more specific with the scholarships. Maybe you set a goal of, I want to apply for at least 4 scholarships per year. So put like an actual number to that. Okay. And then with the other one, kind of the same. Try to tie maybe a percentage to that. I don't want to borrow more than 75% of my tuition bill or something like that. Okay. All right. All right. So Ethan, so we're doing Ethan Frederick's here in class.
Would improve my skills at drawing / creating. We'll start learning how to draw. Practice as much as possible. Objectives were to watch beginning guides and look at how to work together. Set a routine schedule and make.
Okay. So again, you want to tie some specific. Maybe I want to watch at least 2 hours per week of sketching or drawing tutorials to those objectives, right? So we want to make sure that we're adding those measurable goals. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So Ethan online, do you want to let us know what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna found a micronation is my mission. A micronation. Do you know what those are? It's basically it's when you declare yourself a country and you've got like maybe 5 acres of land.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's see what your goals are then.
My first goal is to acquire territory, and my other goal is to be recognized by another country.
Okay.
With acquiring territory, I had the objective of looking at a different piece of land, one different piece every week. And the other one is create a legislative body to enact laws before acquiring the land. And then for being recognized by another country, I have attempt to create diplomatic channels with other countries. I'll be trying a new country every week, and to set up an embassy building within my territory. So for that one, it's
Okay,
just
so
saving up money to build that thing.
okay, all right. So again, yeah, you got try to add those measurable, specific, quantitative type of pieces to the objectives, right? So what was that first objective you said? Your first goal?
Acquire territory.
Okay, so yeah, you'd want to maybe specifically say how much territory, how many acres, or something like that. So okay, all right. So you guys get the idea, right? Okay, so small, measurable, all the way up to the big, grand mission, right? Okay. Usually if you can, if you can get, if you can get a numeric kind of measure, either a percentage or a dollar amount, quantity, whatever it might be, that types of the goal. And so again, for the reason to go over this is this is stuff that you'll probably talk to the clients with, those initial first meetings that you have with somebody, whether you're freelancing or whether you're working for a company. This is the kind of stuff that they're going to kind of go over in those first stages of a project. Okay. All right. So the last thing here, I'm going to go over. Talk about the business area analysis. All right, so this is kind of that second stage after the strategic planning, okay, what we just did. So these are where we are identifying those vital areas and components of a business and what those areas do, what their functions are. All right, so analysis means to break up a whole into its different parts to find out what their nature, function, all that is. Modeling is another term that you'll come across. It just means to describe something in a way that the model can be used as a plan to build kind of that final project, or in our case, build the database, right? Business analysis and modeling seek to describe an enterprise's major areas and activities, and I'll show you what I mean there. All right, so the high-level division of a business that is vital to its operation, for example, like sales in a retail store, insurance processing in a doctor's office, right? So people that wouldn't function without somebody taking care of the insurance. Circulation desk at a library, right? So if we didn't have that, the library would pretty much be defunct. If we didn't have a kitchen at a restaurant, what's the point? Right, so those are different areas. That's another one where I kept some of the stuff that the previous professor had. Right, so the mummy makers, okay, there's like people that had different functions of that business. You probably had somebody that got the gross part where they had to pull the brains through the nose or something, right? So some poor guy had to do that, and then you probably have somebody that's taking care of putting all the little knickknacks and things into the jars, and you have somebody that's doing the wrapping, okay? So it's a business, right? Back in the ancient days. Okay, so here's some other examples of a business process, right? So now we're talking about the specific processes of those areas. Checking out a customer at a grocery store, restocking shelves at a grocery store, shipping goods for a .com retailer, being a waiter, taking an order at a restaurant, Okay, those are specific processes for that business. Okay, and so when we model this, we want to. There's kind of a way that we want to model this business. Okay, so it's kind of like a flow chart or a similar like a sitemap for a website, you know, that you guys have seen. Okay, so we start out here. So our overall business here is a doctor's office. Okay, so now we have to think about what are the different pieces or area functions within a doctor's office. Okay, we got the patient records. So we have people that are taking care of those records, updating them with notes from the doctor, the insurance, all that stuff. We have accounting. Okay, so we have somebody that's taking care of, you know, making sure that the payroll, right, for the, this could be accounting and human resources, you know, the paying the nurses and the staff and everybody in the office, making sure we have enough supplies on hand for the nurses and the doctors. Okay, then we have our billing and insurance area, right, where we have people that are working directly with insurance companies and working with the patients and customers on the phone and online to get all of that billing and insurance taken care of. And then we have like our front office staff that are scheduling appointments and working with people as they check into the office. Okay. All right, so another one would be a library. Okay, so we think about a public library. We have our operations, which then breaks down into acquisition. So we have somebody that's looking for new books, new periodicals, journals, somebody that's taking care of that part. We have somebody that's working in the reference area. Okay, so helping people with research, all that stuff. Somebody in circulation. Okay, probably more people in circulation that are checking in items, checking in books, checking them out to customers, reshelving those items. Okay, so the library also has the business side of like human resources, you know, taking care of all the money part of it to pay for the librarians and the help there. And then fundraising is probably, so anytime you have like more of a nonprofit type of organization, there's going to be that fundraising component to help sustain the operation. All right, so just one more example here, a .com retailer. Okay, so somebody that's selling something online. We have our sales area where we are setting up the process for an orders, preparing shipping documents. Okay, they're getting all that ready, and then once that is done, we have our shipping area. So we have people that are taking those shipping documents, finding the items, packaging them, and getting them sent out in the mail. We also have our accounting. Again, accounting could be human resources, could be another one on here. And in this case, we also probably have a pretty big information systems component where we have our web developers, database specialists that are keeping everything up and running for the site. All right, so so for example here, if we have somebody that is, if we're trying to track this process of a .com with a sale on the site, okay? So we get to the point where the customer gets what they want, they find the item that they want, and they're gonna check out, okay? So they go to their cart and they click checkout. All right, so what's gonna happen here? So this is all so this is where we're starting to get into what you guys are gonna, you know, be really digging into when we get to working with the development of our web pages and the database and everything. Okay, so first we have to display the order details. Okay, you know, what are they buying? Next part, they have to figure out what kind of shipping they want. Do they want it, get it there the next day, just standard shipping? Do that. That'll update the order. Okay, so now we're into the next phase where we got a new cost associated with their order, depending on the shipping. Then we have to set up some sort of a payment transaction. Okay, so usually put in a credit card number. When that information is put in, it triggers an action that cross-references that with the credit card company to make sure everything's good, that the card's available to use as a credit for that transaction. That'll update the order and say, thank you, congratulations, your orders will be on its way. Once we do that, then we generate a customer receipt, we generate a shipping list for the warehouse, and we usually trigger like an invoice for the accounting side of the business. Okay, so the shipping people get the shipping list, put it all together, put it in a box, send it out, and everybody's happy. Okay. All right, so things to remember here. Again, the business model is really necessary to understand the context of that overall system. Okay, so remember we started way up at the top, and now we're kind of way down in the weeds. We're getting into the nitty gritty of transactions that are using databases and all that. So the business model includes those vital areas. So a lot of times when you're working with a client, you'll want them to provide some sort of an organizational chart or model of how their business works, so you can get a kind of a better idea of how that's working. And you always need to have kind of that trigger and then the outcome. Okay, and that all will be different depending on what type of a site you're working with, what type of a business, what type of a database system you're using. Okay. All right, that all makes sense? All right, so these slides are on Canvas for you to review. I do have a quiz on here that you'll need to complete by Sunday. It's just going to go over all the information that we did here in the slides. So you can open up the slides and have those as references when you're taking the quiz. And then next week, we're going to get into database lifecycle and requirements modeling. Okay, so we started to kind of touch on that here this week, but we'll get into more detail on all of that next week. All right. Okay, that's all I got for today. So just need to get that done. And before you leave, yeah, make sure you wipe down your area with a wipe there. All right. See you.
Have a fun meeting.
Yep. See you, Ethan.
See you.
Bye.